Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 21 updates and spoilers. I just realized when I started this, I was looking at the camera like... Our house guest of the day is Jason Morellas. Jason, thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate it and could not do this without you. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guest of the day, like Jason, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. Alright, so when we left off yesterday, Jackson won the power veto. So Christy was crying and upset, but she was sure to tell Jackson, it's not because you won fair and square, and that's great. But she was upset because Tommy and Holly were playing Baywatch and holding hands and frolicking around the house, and she felt like that was really insensitive and really disrespectful. And it stung even more, number one, because it was Tommy, obviously, but number two, because he was doing this with Holly, and she feels like Holly is one of the people that's taking her out this week, because obviously Holly's boyfriend or whatever is the HOH. So she was really upset about that. So Tommy apologized, but like, oof, that was a bad miscalculation on his part. He really should have thought that over before he did that. So anyway, if you want to hear more about the immediate aftermath following the competition, go back and watch yesterday's spoiler if you haven't already done that, because I talked about it more there. So, Nick goes up to the HOH room to kiss Jackson's ass some more. He loved it so much before, he came back for more. So, this is happening even after that morning. Sis and Christy were accusing him of making deals with Jackson and like throwing competitions so that he wouldn't have to put them up. Which is true. So Nick is still doing this anyway. So they agree that Jackson winning the power veto was the best case scenario this week. Jackson didn't want to have to put somebody else up, and Nick didn't want to have to choose between Sis or Christy if he won the veto. Let's be real, he would have saved Sis, but he didn't want to have to lose Christy's jury vote like that. So... lost my spot like Julie. Okay. Jackson feels like Sis is taking this very personally, which she is, even more so than Christy. Christy's handling it great so far. She's not like freaking out on anybody yet. And Jackson says he's planning on talking to Sis soon to try and clear things up, but he's gonna like let her cool off for a bit first, and then he'll do that. So Jackson says to Nick, I hope we're good going into this next week, because I'm not going to be able to compete for HOH, and that's pretty scary, because they're still thinking the next one's going to be a double eviction, or the next one. They don't know. So Nick says, I wouldn't put up you or Holly if I won HOH. So he's making kind of like another deal-ish. So Nick implies he would be targeting Jess. I guess it's not really a deal, because he's not technically asking for anything in return, but I guess it's implied that Jackson would not use the veto and put him up. I don't know. But Nick does imply that he would be targeting Jess next week because she drags him all the time, and she's made it known that she wants to get guys out. So then Nick is telling Jackson, I would rather lose 9-0 to a competitor like you than win 5-4 over Nicole. No freaking way. I'm calling bull on that. There is no way. Nick is in it to win it, and he is gonna try to slime his way to that win. He would definitely take Nicole to the end and try and beat her. So anyway, then Holly and Jackson were chatting alone, and they're wondering, what does America think of us now that we're making this big move and getting rid of Christy? Has this changed our opinions about them at all? I will answer that. In my opinion, I am enjoying this week. I think this is a good move. It's satisfying, but honestly, after it's done, Jackson can go. I'm not like rooting for Jackson and Holly now, and I would love to see Jackson go in the next few weeks. Sorry. All right, so then they did have some game talk. Holly says that she does not want Nick to get Jess out. Jess is a good person for them to keep around, especially if she does have a target on her back. And Holly is worried that Sis will be gunning for her now. What gave you that impression? Apparently, Sis will not even respond to Holly when she says good morning to her or make eye contact with her. That's not a good sign. So Holly is saying, if I win a HOH, I don't want to have to target Sis, but who else would do it? You know, somebody's gonna have to take her out eventually, and if nobody else is gonna do it, I guess it's up to me. Ooh. So Jackson says, you know what? It would be justified because she is a threat to your game. So it makes sense. Okay. So then Tommy is next up to HOH to kiss some A. Jackson is claiming, I was never gonna put you up this week, not even as a replacement. I never even considered it. Yeah, he did. But Tommy is like, no, it's great. I love you. I'm so obsessed with you. I'm not gonna put you guys up next week if I win. Okay. So Tommy seems to be pushing that the 6 shooters should reconcile. He says, I hope we can figure things out together because that's the best chance for all of us to make it to the end. Tommy is never gonna let this 6 shooters thing go. So he's encouraging Jackson to have a one-on-one with Sis when she cools off a bit. He's saying, yeah, she just felt really blindsided, and Sis and Christy are pretty much just like feeding off of each other's negative energy right now. Yeah, that does seem to be the case. But Tommy says that Sis is also being fed information. The RV room is a toxic place. Let's think about who else sleeps in the RV room. He doesn't say who it is that's feeding Sis information, but Holly suspects it could be Jess again. I think she could be right. I don't know what the hell Jess is doing at this point. For some reason she's upset with Nicole. Supposedly it's because she doesn't like that Nicole is still close with Nick after everything that's gone down. But like, she's got some nerve talking crap about Nicole when Nicole risked her game last week to tell Jess about that final 6 deal, and then Jess went around and like blew all that crap up. So I just feel like Jess is being really dumb right now. I don't know why she's getting so close to Sis and Christy. It's weird. So anyway, Christy and Sis are chatting in the bathroom area, and Sis is like, what if I can get Tommy to convince him, meaning Jackson, to get us all back together because we need the numbers. She said, if we could do that, we'll have the numbers going into the HOH competition, and we'll all promise each other and swear on the Bible that we won't go after each other. Oh my God! Remember when she said she didn't want to listen to Holly and Jackson at a meeting to try and solidify the 5 again? Hilarious. So Christy is like, I don't know. She wants to take the night off and decompress. She doesn't really want a game right now. So then their conversation gets interrupted because Sis and Christy have been very pranky. I mean, not only cranky, but also pranky lately. They've been having kind of like a prank war with Cliff. Cliff is going for that jury vote. And yeah, so they put Vaseline on one of the doors, and Tommy ended up touching it. It was like, bleh! So that conversation was interrupted because of that. But Sis brought it up again later with Christy, and Christy says she'd be down to try it and try and get the old gang back together, but not right now. She needs to chill for a bit. So, oh my God, all last night, Sis continued to go up to cameras and beg for powers from America. She says, I've been so good in this game. I haven't done anything bad. Please grant me a power. There are so many things that I could say about this, but I'm gonna keep it chill and just say, you have done nothing in this game except complain about how much you hate everything. You've made no real game moves. Why would America give you power? And plus, we sent you on a field trip last week. Okay, so anyway, Cliff and Jackson were talking about some stuff that they've been overhearing throughout the house. So Jackson says he saw Sis and Christy talking to Jess outside, and he heard Sis say that she has never said a bad word about him, but she could have, but she didn't. Which is pretty close. They were actually talking about Holly at the time. They're talking a lot of crap about Holly and how the game has changed her. And Sis was saying that she could have said a lot of stuff about Holly, but she did not. So Jackson's got pretty good ears. So then they're talking about how Sis is taking this really poorly, but she's really, truly just a pawn this week. I mean, she would have been a target if Christy came down, but right now, she's a pawn. So they don't know why she's having such a poor attitude and potentially making herself a bigger target moving forward. So then Cliff is saying, just so you know, he overheard Christy telling Sis, you need to try and smooth things over with Jackson and Holly because your anger is gonna make you a target. You need to just like pull it back a little bit and stay calm. So Christy is definitely trying to keep Sis calm. So then, what do you know? A little while later, Sis asks Jackson to talk. So they go to the have-not room, and Jackson's like, yeah, I wanted to talk to you too. I was just giving you time to cool off. So Sis is like, okay, let me say my piece here. She apologizes for being so pissed and down lately. She says, it sucks being up on the block next to your friend. And she says, yeah, like, I know you were up against Jack, but we still had some hope back then because we still had a power that we could potentially use, and it just wasn't as bad as it is for me. So she says she felt really blindsided this week. She thought she was gonna be safe. And Jackson says, you are safe. You're just a pawn. You're really just a pawn. So Sis is like, yeah, well, I would have respected the move way more if you had told me ahead of time that I was gonna be going up on the block, even just as a pawn. So then Sis is saying, I didn't come up with the deal last week. I was just part of it. And she says the deal was not to get you guys on the block. It was just to keep me safe for a week. That's such bullshit because she was planning on throwing the HOH competition so that somebody else could put up Holly or Jackson. And there was an understanding in that group that Holly and Jackson would be the targets. It's hilarious. So anyway, Sis says that she was also confused because the 5 of them had talked about still working together just like a few days before the nominations, like 2 days or something. And she doesn't know how it came to this. And Jackson says that was before the blow up. And apparently the blow up he's talking about is the night before Kat's eviction. You really think he's still gonna want to work with you after that? Mm-mm. So then Jackson's telling her, I still feel good, even now, with you and Tommy, but not Christy. He wants Christy to go. So he says, I felt like I didn't owe anyone an explanation before the nominations. He knows that he would have been on the block if he or Holly did not win HOH, which is probably true. And he's also telling her about the conversation that he overheard with Sis and Christy talking to Jess and saying that Jackson and Holly didn't have anybody in their corner and it was going to be 6 versus 2 in the HOH and they don't win competitions, blah, 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 blah. We've already heard it so many times. So then Sis is like, well, Nick is the one that came up with the deal last week, so why aren't you targeting him? She says Christy could still be a number for you and you're just ready to like get rid of her? Oh my god. So Jackson keeps saying, Christy is my #1 target right now, not Nick. I can't beat Christy. She's got to go. You know, this is what's best for my game. It's not personal. So he keeps telling Sis that she's just a pawn because if she's up on the block, that's 1 less vote for Christy to stay, and he wants her to go. So she just keeps saying, I'm pissed that you didn't warn me. You should have told me. Why didn't we talk? Blah, blah, blah. So Jackson apologizes for hurting her like that. He says that he trusts her and he has her back. And she says, okay, cool. I respect the game move. It was badass, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then Sis does say she is still upset with Holly. They have their own crap because Sis does not believe that Holly didn't know what Jackson was going to do with these nominations. Yeah, because that's insane and ridiculous. So Jackson is lying and saying that he did not tell Holly what he was going to do. How could he even say that with a straight face? Oh my god. So yeah, they say Sis and Holly are going to have to talk about that on their own because Jackson cannot speak for her. So Sis says that she feels a lot better with Jackson now that they've had this conversation. I'm sure most of that was BS, but okay. So then after, Jackson's telling Holly all about the talk and he says, it went well for me, but she's still upset with you. So he's telling her, you gotta stick with the story that you didn't know who I was gonna put up, because that's what I told her. You know, take that to the grave. That's gonna be fun to watch. So then Sis reports back to Christy and Tommy, and Sis still has hope that they can patch things up and get the old group back together, and then Jackson will use the power veto and they'll all be safe. Ah! So then this is where it gets really rich. Christy says that when she was napping, her spirit guide came to her in a dream and was like, why the hell would you just give up? He or she, I don't know if it's he or she, told her she's amazing at this game and she needs to talk to whoever's in charge and turn this around. If there's anyone that can do it, it's her. What? She said actually she has 2 spirit guides and they both told her this. Okay, so she says she's not expecting anything from this, but she's gonna try. She's gonna see if she can get Jackson to use the power veto. Should be a fun day leading up to the power veto ceremony tomorrow, right? I mean, I'm really interested to see what she's gonna say. She was like, I don't want to have to sell out and work with them again, but I guess I have to try. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And until tomorrow, much love.